start streaming also. Hello? Yeah, all the building is Aalto Studios in a way.
The whole building?
Yeah, the whole building. But if you're looking for the entrance, then you should go upstairs where the main entrance is. There's a canteen.
Okay.
And then next to the canteen, there's the Aalto takeout in case you're looking for the equipment rental, equipment takeout place.
We're looking for this course.
Which one?
About Adobe Premium, no sé qué.
Adobe Premiere.
Premiere, yes.
Okay,
Adobe
video
Premiere
editing course. That must then happen upstairs somewhere. Let me show you. So now when you go to the end of the tunnel, then you turn left and right and you will find the stairs. You will go upstairs, you will see that there's a canteen. Just ask around. People will show you.
So helpful.
Or louder, do you want to help him? I was thinking I'd go have lunch. Me too, I was thinking I'd go have lunch.
Sure, yeah. We're gonna start the course. Where's this from?
Oh. Ah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, then just like, you know, just don't have a report. No, but I'll do that anyway, and then we'll do the... Okay, you made a whole bunch of stuff, but basically, if, yeah, okay, so adding this,
All right, so we're gonna again wait for about 5 minutes till everybody arrives, and then gonna start. Hello, hello.
but then for this, what we need to do is here, these are the stock, so the stock,
Will I manage to get coffee during these 5 minutes? We'll go now. right. Still 1 minute of coffee time.
Do you guys need anything for this class thing?
I think
Folks again.
So yesterday there were 4. So today I think there are 3 there already.
Okay.
But I'm recording also.
Okay.
So we're gonna vinyl cut, and if the laser cutter is free, then laser cut also.
Okay. If you need a theme for the vinyl cut, you could do like cardboard, paper, batteries for the recycling bins.
Oh.
Hopefully after this, then I could start on it.
Yeah, I'll do something generic. So
yeah,
like, you know,
some Fab Lab logos always.
Glorifying digital fabrication studio course.
Yeah. Okay.
Lettering. Basically, I want to show letters, custom drawings, and then how you can import and trace an image. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much the essential. Alright, I'll be back soon. Oh, you didn't flip it over yet? No. Okay. Flip it tomorrow, or if you want, you can flip it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that you see it, so you can, you get more.
I want to see it also. Tomorrow,
You then tomorrow, so tomorrow you're gonna be here. Oh, so both of you.
yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, thank you. There's some event tomorrow. I think in
VR event, yes. I met Antti yesterday, so he's so there's gonna be Ranji and Antti. So upstairs they're gonna do something around VR and how, like technically, so how to use Spout or Siphon on Mac OS in order to stream things from Unity into your custom application or and VR headsets. So like real-time VR.
Okay, because there's also some big funding on sustainability projects or something kind of ended, so it may be in what's it called? The nice building with
the Vara building or
no,
the library, the learning center.
Where the 3D printing conference was.
Deepoli?
Deepoli, yeah.
Ah, there's
Maybe
something
it's
going
there
on.
or somewhere else, but there's like some music stuff tomorrow, like from 5 to 7.
Yeah, that VR event is also from 5 to 7. Yeah, so there are too many, and the Fab Academy is from 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Like from 3 actually, I think from 3 or 4. Yeah, I wanted to watch together with them. So since they're joining a course, I think it makes sense for them to see it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how we work with that.
There's a progress bar. That's nice. And just recheck the audio once more. It's there. Hello, hello. Very well, it's there. What is this maybe meant only for one channel?
We had a bed with some friends. I knew. People said it was boring, but I thought it was really cinematic. Yeah. It really posed everyone. Like postcard moments. I have why? Like people expecting more than expecting too much. Yeah. Or too little. Yeah. So, Chris, he has a Rhino file that he needs to change.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Rhino.
Okay. Do you know? Do you have some software that he could import the Rhino file into?
Rhino? No, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I can go to one.
There, like we have some Rhino installation discs in the locker. Actually, I saw them.
The problem is the license.
Yeah,
It's over
the licenses aren't
working anymore.
I could tell. Which is why we tried. We were just.
Yeah, there's this somewhere on the list, somewhere on the backlog that we should install Rhino on the computers. But yeah, well, it's somewhere and like far in the future.
You can't use that one.
Yeah, I already changed it, but it doesn't let me save it because it's license. Yeah.
How complicated is the object that you want to make?
No, it's really simple, and the action is
but
just
it's like parametrically generated, right?
Yeah. Like it needs to cut one thing, but.
But how like anyway? So would you be able to reproduce it by using something like OpenSCAD or Fusion or?
Not it's like
other parametric.
It would take too much time to be worth it.
Maybe OpenSCAD.
I can go to Bade and
yeah. Do you have it on a laptop there or?
Yeah. I have it there like an invalid Rhino.
All right, so we are ready to start then. So welcome. So glad that you're here. So now we dropped from 4 participants to 3, but that's fine. So hopefully more of the other people are going to join us during the next days. If not, we're gonna have fun anyway. So as I wanted to start today about. So did you read something?
Sorry, no. We have a studio. We are finished on this Friday.
All right.
So we have a lot of work to do.
All right.
But I think we are free from next week.
Then yeah, we could postpone that, or I will just keep asking as the first part. So that would be interesting. But yeah, well, the reading and these exercises, I was thinking that just to move your brain a little bit, so you have maybe more ideas and impulses for generating the ideas for the next week, so for the presentation next Monday. So and today. We cover computer-controlled cutting, which is basically vinyl cutting, laser cutting, and how to prepare design files for cutting. So mainly focused on what is available at our lab. So we have a vinyl cutter and a laser cutter. But there are more tools such as, so there are knife-based tools, laser-based tools, and water jet, so the one that is available at VADAD, and there are more, so there are plasma cutters and whatnot. So this one is vinyl cutter. Roland, Roland GS 24, was it? Yeah, it's the same machine that you see on on that side of the lab. So that's the vinyl cutter. So what you can do, you can cut stickers, you can cut copper tape in order to produce printed circuit boards, and you can cut out all kinds of shapes for T-shirts. So did I show you the? Yeah. Well, you have seen like these T-shirts with this kind of a plasticky vinyl foil on top. So you can basically cut those, and then you can use the heat press that is available just one floor up in the fashion design department. And also in Vada they have those. So you can make your own T-shirts. And you apply transfer tape in order to remove the sticker itself, and then you put this onto the wall, onto the surface where you want to put it, and then you remove the transfer tape. So this is why it's called the transfer tape, because it transfers your design from the sticker tape. So yes, from the sticker base onto a surface. It looks like this. Oops. Yeah, like so. And then what do? You use like a tool in order to make it stick better to the surface, like so. Yeah. And then we have a laser cutter. So this is the Epilogue Legend 36 EXT, 60-watt laser. It's able to cut wood, acrylics, MDF, thin sheets ranging from 0. anything millimeters up to 1 centimeter. So I would say 8 millimeters. But you have to be careful with what you cut. So there are specifications. So there are lists and tables with what materials can be cut. So if you cut some really nasty plastic, then it produces toxic fumes, and it's not really healthy to breathe then. Even though the ventilation system is kind of decent, it could be better always. So you can cut cork, for example. There's so this is an example of a guy who is visiting us during the open days, and he's trying to make a buoy, like the floating buoy that would float in the sea. And for this, he wanted to cut his parts in order to stack them up and glue them together. Then there was a guy who was into IBM Watson, the machine learning toolkit, the AI toolkit, and they have an open source project that with all the drawings that are needed in order to produce this kind of a robot. So he cut cardboard, and basically used two types of lines: the ones that would be for the markings and folding parts, so to be able to fold it better, and then also for cutting. So you can specify different line colors in order to do different things. Then you can make weird instruments. So these are full body fashion instruments, and I think this girl is going to present her master thesis next week at the Media Lab in Vara. Then there's jet cutter. So at Vara, I'm very excited about this tool because so this lets you cut not just wood and plastics, but it lets you cut aluminum, steel, ceramics, glass. And the other cool feature about this is that it has the fifth axis. So basically you can tilt the head, so you can cut in an angle, actually. And this is how it looks like. Not that loud, but it's able to pierce through the material really nicely. And then you end up with parts like these. And this I did 2 weeks ago. Wait, So this one, yeah, and the result is are actually these plastic PVC sheets. So in order to separate the dusty area that of the woodworking room and this room, because it's lectures happening and people working on electronics and they have their computers and other expensive equipment here. And these metal pieces were to hold these PVC strips. So if you look on the right side of the image, on the right image and up, then you will see that there are these metal parts which are holding the PVC strips. Yeah, these are those. Yeah, so there's CAD software that you can use in order to produce drawings and designs for these types of machines. So Fusion 360 or Rhino or FreeCAD or SolidWorks. So these are the typical tools that you would use in order to produce your design to make it precise. So if you're really aiming for precision, then CAD software is the way to go. However, you can just use vector software, so more familiar, more known to the graphic designers and artists. So starting from Adobe Illustrator, which is kind of I think it's ruling the market right now. But then if you're into open source tools, Inkscape is as good for simple stuff. You can use CorelDRAW, although I don't know many people who are using that. And then there's like one recent tool that is called the Affinity Designer. It's a vector drawing software that is designed specifically for Mac computers. It's paid, but it's not subscription based. You pay once for the license, and then you have it for all the time, as it used to be in the old days with Adobe Illustrator as well. And our focus today for vinyl and laser cutting is going to be Adobe Illustrator. I'm also equipped with the Roland Cut Studio plugin for Illustrator, so you don't need to have it on your computer because the vinyl cutting computer has it. And so in terms of laser cutting, all the necessary things for laser cutting are there on the laser cutter computer. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to include these in the video specifically. But the plan is to make short videos about these tools in the future as the lab manual. And yeah, well, demonstration time. Maybe you have any questions. Okay. Before we start, I wanted to roll back to the documentation that I showed yesterday. So yeah, there were just a few things that were not as straightforward, but actually I ended up solving in a really simple way. So this is a website that is generated from this markdown file that we wrote yesterday. So if I go to my GitLab account and I go to DFS documentation demo, I shared also all the links on my courses, so you probably saw the announcement. So yeah, so there's this README file where I have, so in plain text it looks like this, right? Nothing too complicated, not so much content, but yeah, all the things. In GitLab, so it's automatically rendered like this. But the problem is that there are all these interface elements around. What do we want to do? We want to transform this into a real website. And if you go to the root of the repository, remember we added this GitLab CI YAML file, which is also just a basic text file, but it needs to have this name in GitLab to understand that it has to use it in order to compile the website in one way or another into something. So it is related to the trend of continuous integration and automated testing in the software development. But this field in general is very powerful, and it can be used not just for that. It can be used for, whenever you make a change, you could make a script that sends an email to certain people, or could upload an image somewhere, or I don't know, activate a power plant, like whatever. So this script can be used for that. And if you open it up, you see it starts with this. So these everything that starts with a hash is a comment. It can, you know, it's okay not to take that into account. But it starts with the keyword image, and it relates to also a tool known in software development which is called Docker. And Docker allows you to create containers with whole operating systems and certain tools already pre-installed. So imagine that I would just give you a flash drive with, let's say, Microsoft Windows and Adobe Illustrator and some example files already. You would insert it in your computer, you would boot up, and your computers would look the same. So in terms of the interface, so it's the same concept with Docker, that you can just upload the image somewhere on the server. So let's say it's Amazon or Linode or Scaleway or GitLab or your own server, and on every server, your application that you are building with Docker is going to behave the same. So it's the maybe on one server there's FreeBSD, on the other one there is Linux Ubuntu, on the third one Linux Debian, on the fourth one there's some sort of a proprietary Windows solution. But all of them, they have Docker. They will take this image, they will launch a sub-operating system, so to say, with everything that you want to be there, and the outcome is going to be the same always. So in here we are using an image which is which has Node JS installed, and here's the description of the tasks that one has to do. So these cache tasks, that's not important, but what is important for us is the script part. What we are doing here, we are installing a library that's called Markdown Styles, which is going to transfer this Markdown into HTML. Then we are renaming the README MD file to index.md, because on websites usually the first file is index. So there's like an if condition. So if there's a file called README MD, then move README MD to index.md. So this is Bash language. And then we call a tool that's called generate MD or generate Markdown. We specify a layout, which is a GitHub layout. So in the Markdown styles repository, documentation, you can see what styles are available. And we specify the input, which is the current directory, and the output to be a directory called public, which is a generic directory, which is then going to be stored as an artifact and being published to the website. And then, yeah, it's being published here. So which is basically, yeah, your username, gitlab.io, and / the repository name. So I can show you an example on how this works quickly. So let's do a change. I'm going to the root of the project. So as you see, so there's now at gitlab.com / my username and / the repository name. I'm gonna go into the README file here and click edit, and I'm gonna add something to the day do. We will look at some Illustrator today. Like so. No, I don't have to save. README MD with day 2 content. And then I click commit changes. And now, yeah, if I go back here to the root of the thing, then I see that the commit is pending, and it's actually going to create a task to the runner. And here you can see kind of a terminal window of the machine that is actually running the task that is described by the YAML file. you see it's pulling the Docker image with the name node 4.22. And then, yeah, it's launching it. Taking some time. Yeah, so it somehow didn't show everything in between, but if we roll back, we can see all the things that have been done. So mostly it's all kinds of libraries, like Node.js libraries that have been installed here. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah. So fetching our repository, then we are installing this markdown styles. And then down here, we are renaming the index file, and we are generating. And then this is the output of the generator. And then it's uploading the artifacts, and yeah, eventually it's notifying us that the job is succeeded, and it has also like this green check mark that it actually worked. Can go back to the root of our, yeah, so, and yeah, you can see that the latest commit actually succeeded, so passed, and if you're using the testing terminology. And we can go to the website and refresh it and take a look. Yeah, and you see the text is actually there. Yeah, so you don't have to necessarily do this, but I'm just showing you the possibilities. So for example, if you're, if you want, I mean, I'm just showing you the possibilities. So for me, it's enough that you have a text file with your documentation and images, but then this is like the next level of it. So if you, for example, in the future, you want to write documentation and you want to automatically generate a website from it, then this is maybe a good idea. Yeah, but now for Illustrator. So there's kind of a video about it. I never seen this video, to be honest. But yeah, you can do all these beautiful things with it. Probably you know that. So how about we actually start it up? So I have it started over here. And yeah, one thing that is, yeah, I'll just close these panels. Somehow they ended up in the other screen. Yeah. So first things first, one thing that you want to make sure when you're working with these cutting tools is that your units are set to millimeters. In order to do that, you have to click on the Illustrator menu. I think on Windows it might be a bit different. It might be that you have to go to Edit Preferences or something. But the idea is to go to Preferences and look for Units. And here in Units, so sometimes when you're working with graphics for web or the computer or like digital graphics, then you need to measure things in pixels. But in the case of digital fabrication, like stick to millimeters. And yeah, I set all the properties, so general units millimeters. So for strokes also millimeters, and if you're using any type or lettering, then we use millimeters as well. Hit OK, and yeah, let's start by creating a new file. I'm going to choose one of the print templates. So A4 is good. Maybe I'll put it landscape, like so. Somehow it's also asking, it's kind of proposing me to choose the points. Like here, also make sure that you choose millimeters as the working unit of your file. Let's create. Yeah, the simplest thing that you can do is to choose the square tool and draw a square. And let's draw this square at a certain size. Let's imagine that we want to make a sticker that is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, so which is 100 millimeters by 100. And yeah, you can see if you open the properties panel, which you can access also through window properties, then you have the transform section here, and you can enter precise values in millimeters how big your object should be. Yeah, that's that. So now we have a square. So how about another thing? So let's use some text. I'm not clicking on the rectangle, because then it's gonna think that I want to use this rectangle as a text box, but I'm gonna click somewhere outside, and I'm gonna enter some text like DFS for the Digital Fabrication Studio. Yes, and of course we have a opportunity to choose the font. I'm always spending a lot of time on this. Bangers, regular, no. Black chalk, no. Charter 1. No, I'll go with something more graphical. So I'll thin. Thin looks cool. Thin condensed, even better. Okay, let's go. So now I'm gonna place it in here. Maybe scale it up. Yeah, so there's one important thing with text and cutting, is that before you send it off to the vinyl cutter or any other cutter, you should translate it into outlines. And in order to do that, you can right click and select the create outlines option. And now it's outlines, and the way how you can validate that is also by pressing Command Y. So you can see that everything appears as outlines, no matter whether it's filled or not. If you hit Control or Command Y once more, it returns to the more like a presentation-like appearance style. And yeah, so I'm going to create the same file for vinyl cutting and laser cutting. So first focusing on the things that are important for vinyl cutter. So first, yeah, so for vinyl cutter, the most important is that everything is paths. So the rectangle is a path that's clear, but then the text, it has to be converted into paths or outlines. So
what's the difference if I just change this one between convert outline? I change view and
yeah, so it's
the same, or
no, it's not the same. Totally not. So it's just it just changes the appearance, but it doesn't change the essence of the text. So it's still editable. So you can do E, and the thing is that in this point there's no way to change like the individual points of the lettering. You just yeah, this is like a text object which has text editability features, but in order to for the machines to understand it, you have to create it as outlines. And then and then you can actually, you see, like drag it around, so these points, like so. One other interesting thing is that you can do, you can look for an image. So now you can use Illustrator to translate that image into a vector information as well. So let's see. So we can choose one. Let's save the image as. I'll just save it to downloads, like with monkey JPEG. Save. Let's go to Illustrator, and in Illustrator, so you can place a file into design by using the file place function. And so downloads, monkey place. Ta-da. Now we have it. And yeah, especially for vinyl cutter, it's important to transform this into outlines. As you see, it's all pixels, and if I zoom in, it's all pixelated like this. We don't want that, so we want it as vector outlines. So one way, like a really old school way of doing it, would be just drawing a line around every element of it, and then spending a lot of time on that. But no, we are not going to do this. Instead, we are going to use a built-in function in Illustrator, which is hiding under Object, image trace, and here, like the make. Do you see it? I can turn the light off a little bit. That must be better. Let's sip of coffee. So yeah, and you can make this, and you saw that there's something happened with the image, and if you zoom in, now you see there are no pixels anymore, it's all smooth. With the more complex images, you can also specify some parameters. There's image trace presets, and there's also a panel for that, so you can specify the threshold. So let's say, how it's treating the gray values. Is it including it more or not so much? Mode, grayscale. So there are not so many grayscale things. This is just purely black and white. Let's stick to that. And then in order to get the vector output, we need to click on expand as well. So it's gonna cut off the editability of the tracing options, and it's gonna give us pure vectors. This is all grouped together, so I'm gonna ungroup it. So one step back, I'm clicking, right-clicking, hitting ungroup like so, and then I can remove this white area that I completely don't need, and I can focus on these elements over here. See, I can now drag them around. So let's see. Maybe I want it to look a little bit like smiling, or even more, or talking, so I can adjust these ones. I could add like a little bubble here. And if you hit Alt and drag, then it's gonna copy it. Like so. Yeah, so yeah. Now I'll finish here. And now I can combine all these three images somehow. Like, for example, the square and this one. I'll adjust it to the same width, like so. Yeah, maybe the square, maybe we don't need it really, so let's just get rid of it and yeah, like so. So and this is fine for vinyl cutting. You would cut these out and you would get a sticker like this. But for example, like with the so if we want to transform this into laser cuttable format, we can go even further. So what a laser cutter is going to do with this, it's gonna engrave, because everything that is filled, laser cutter is gonna perceive as engraving or etching settings. And then in order to cut some parts, so let's say we want to cut the letters out, we need to convert them into outlines. And one thing that is going to happen here is that like the letter D is not really going to be cut. So it's going to be cut out completely, and we are also going to lose the middle part. And in order to avoid that, we are going to cut this in half, like so. And yeah, there's a set of nice features that you can find under the Pathfinder menu. So if you go to Window, Pathfinder, so you can open it as a separate panel, but you can see it also under the properties. So what I want to do, in order to use Pathfinder, you need two objects, the base object and kind of the tool object. So you select both by using the shift selection. And here I'm going to use the minus front. So whatever is on front of the other object is going to be subtracted, like so. But the problem is that we need to ungroup the text part in order to access these individually. And yeah, so now yeah, and maybe in order to make this a bit more consistent, we could split all these letters in half. So I could just use this shape, make it longer, and then select all those, maybe group them, select that. Yeah, unfortunately it works on the letters separately, so it's not really straightforward. So I'm just gonna copy this, Control Shift V is like pasting an object exactly in the same place. Control Shift V again. And we get this. And now the next step is to convert these into outlines. So this we can do just by swapping the fill and stroke, like so. And for the laser cutter, another thing is important that we need to watch out for the right line thickness. And what we need is we need to set it to 0.01 millimeters. So that's important, that it's 0.01 for the outlines. I wonder what's happening here. Some sort of a laser cutter artifact. So yeah, this is the most important thing to remember in terms of laser cutting, that you use this 0.01 thing. So this black one, this black area, the monkey is going to be engraved. Maybe it's a bit too big of an area to be engraved. So how about we use something similar to engraving, which is called marking, which is basically using the same lines. So I'm gonna use this eyedropper tool in order to copy the same style from these. So you select the objects, then you select this eyedropper tool, which you can access by hitting the key E or I. And then you select the shape that has the same style. So you click. No, that will change just the appearance. So it's gonna be look different, but it's not necessarily gonna mean the same. So now, so yeah, in order for the laser to treat this differently, we need to change the color of the line. So also make sure that you get rid of all the double elements. Like there were some white shapes in between, so we don't want them. Yeah, like so. There's something else somewhere. Yeah, here you go. So there's another white shape that we don't need. There's probably, yeah, this one here. There's still something hiding somewhere. And just cut this for now, and then, oh yeah, there's some. Yeah, now when you see that there's, you know, the stroke visible, so it's all clear, then you can be sure that all the elements that are selected have the same style. And we can double click on the stroke part over here, and we can change the color. And we need to change the color to, oh, there's one more important thing that you have to watch out. So it has to be RGB. So now we have CMYK. So you have to go to File, Document Color Mode, and set it to RGB color. Which means that everything that we have with black, so this and this, we should set it to pure black, which is 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah.
And this one, and then only one word.
Yeah, that's the problem. So this is the trick with Illustrator. So they haven't sorted it out yet. And so what you need to do, you need to ungroup it, probably this one, and then you have to do it individually. So what you can do, you Command C, you copy it, then you select it, you cut it like this. You select the next one, and then with Command Shift and V, you can put it in the same place, where it was. And you select these two again. You select this, and again hit Command Shift V, and it's gonna appear in the same place. Yeah, so we want to watch out that it's RGB, so that's very important. And the black is pure black in terms of values. So if you click here, then all these should be zeros. And the same goes for the lines. So here for these lines, I'm going to select everything and go to the outline color and set it all to pure black. Like so. And also these bubbles. Yeah, it is pure black already. No, was it? Yeah, looks like. And yeah, since these bubbles is not so much, engraving usually takes a lot of time, and I chose the bubbles here because they do not occupy so much space, and they are going to engrave fast, relatively quickly. And for the markings, so the monkey, we want to, or maybe yeah, so we are going to cut the letters, but mark the monkey. So, and in order to do marking, we need to specify a different color for the line, and we need to use pure RGB values. And in order to choose pure red, so one is that we can specify an RGB value here, I think. So 255. So there are many ways how to do that, but yeah, so red component, or you see that the RGB hex value changes to FF 0000, so which means pure red. So if you're thinking in terms of RGB, so which means red, green, and blue component, then in this case the red component is 100% or 255, and the green and blue, they are both 0. And this is why it's pure red. Okay. So yeah, now we have two files. I will still take this monkey and scale it down somewhere in order for us to be later also able to engrave it. So I'm just taking a copy, grouping it, and then reducing by 50%, and it's going to be just maybe a smaller version of the BFS. Like so. And I'm going to save it somewhere, like on the desktop. Like so, as an Illustrator file. And yeah, I'm going to use a flash drive in order to transfer it to both of the computers. So now it's going to be less of showing things on the screen, but more going to the machines. So here we go. I have the vinyl laser monkey file. I'm copying it, and then I'm going to the USB disk, and I'm going to make a new folder, which is TFS, like so, and then safely ejecting it and removing the flash drive. Okay, so yeah, now let's take a 5-minute break. Maybe you can finish your designs, and if you have questions, please ask, and then we are going to do the practical part with setting up the vinyl cutter.
Hey. Hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Very good. Alright, so this should be ready. So this is the one you want to use.
Hello.
Hi, do you have computer that I can access my auto user?
Yeah. Yeah, you can use like any computer that you very much see here. Here, this one.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, you booked the laser cutter.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let me.
We have one more guy coming.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the middle of the course. So basically, there are two other people who will help you.
Okay.
And how much do you want to cut?
I think we need like 2 plywood sheets.
Oh, you need to buy 2 plywood sheets.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, okay. How thick do you want to have?
I have to wait till the 3rd.
Yeah.
He comes.
All right.
You know,
Hello. Yeah, you want to buy plywood sheets, right?
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yes.
How thick?
6.
6 millimeters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or oh yeah. Okay.
This should be it. This is 4. Yeah, just be careful that if you see that it's too warped, then maybe we can find. I think this one is okay, but the other one is actually a bit too warped for laser cutting. So. Okay, this is much better. So what you should I think also do is just to make sure that maybe try to find some scrap material and start small, so that to validate the settings, because the like the things the ones that we have here, they are kind of old school and kind of going over them, and you should add like 5% to the power or reduce the speed by 5% in order to be able to cut through. Sometimes because it's kind of an old laser, so probably it's going to be time soon to replace the laser tube. Yeah, and then feel free to open the design. I'll just ask the other guys to kind of help you. Maybe Lowry you could help them with the laser cutter.
Oh. Can you take a look at the?
Yeah. So
Are you free?
no, just for the milling bit, yes.
Yeah, so
What you want to have a 3 millimeter one?
yeah, just as small as possible, kind of, because it needs to go down the step, and this is how high was it? It's about, yeah, it's about like 30. It's going down maybe.
And this. Yeah, it's gonna be all right.
With this one.
Yeah, you need to know the number of flutes. So it's 2 flutes.
Okay.
Then the diameter. So you measured it. It's 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then just the flute length is around. No, it's gonna be 34. Let me enter those. It's gonna be faster. So 34. Then shoulder length. Yeah, the same. So these are not so important anymore. So maybe the overall length is kind of what matters. It looks like 60. Like that. Yeah, HSS, flat end millimeters. Feed and speed is important. In order to understand the feeds and speeds, there's this green. And where did this come from? And here, so for every, so what we are interested mostly in is the chip rate or chip load. And for each diameter and for each material, so there's this matrix, we should look for the appropriate value. So you have 3 millimeters, and so it's more like soft wood.
So it's soft.
So it's 0.1 until 0.15. So I would stick to 0.1, and actually 0.1 is there already. And what do we need to adjust is the spindle speed. Let's go with 16,000. And let's adjust this to 0.1 again. And the calculation that it does in the background is basically number of flutes times the spindle speed, which is 16,000, and times the feed per tooth, or the chip load, so 0.1. This is a simple formula, and then you get the feed rate. So this is going to be millimeters per minute.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's going to move 32 centimeters per minute. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then lead-in rate, you can leave the same for wood. Ramp feed rates, maybe let's put it to 2,000. Plunge, this is how fast it's going to move downwards. So half of it, so 1,600. Yeah, so it's going to feed for revolution, so it's going to be the same in a way. Hit OK. So maybe also you could name it somehow. So general, so it's 2 flutes, flat.
Is it flat though?
Yeah, looks like it.
No, not really.
This is more like a drill. Not so much a milling tool. It's more like a. This is more like a drilling tool.
Do you think it works, or?
I wonder. The cutter, so is there some sort of ball end? Could it be? I don't think it's really a ball end. It looks more like a conical. It's more like a drill. But we could treat it also as a flat one. Where did you get this? Yeah, it's from there. But there was also.
Right? It was here.
Yeah,
Jason
like,
brought
I don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
There was also something that was that was a different one. Just a second.
finger.
And it takes more each turn and everything like that. So it can take a long time. I once spent I think 2 whole days on the same project. But it was like a big project, like a big dome here. But it had like these tiny things that I was working on, so it's. And then you can't leave the machine, so you have to sit there and look, you know.
Yeah, we don't have too many tools like that would be able to go so deep in a way. So this is something that is for. We could theoretically try that out. So where's that tool once more?
What tool?
The one, the 3mm one. Or did I take it, or I put it back here? Okay, looks like it could work also. So it's just let's treat it as a flat end one. Yeah, it's a bit more roundish, but let's treat it as a flat end.
This is a bull nose. I think we used to have a couple of those bull nose and end nose. If it's a bit curved at the edges.
It's not at edges. It's just it's conical. It's more like.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just treat it like a flat end.
What happens if the ball end is diameter? No, I'm just gonna flat end. Yeah, flat end is this. Then.
And take a peek at it.
And feeds and speeds. This should be alright. Okay.
So my head is still killing me, so I think I'm gonna go home since Jason is back.
Ah, alright.
Is that alright?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What can I do? So, yeah.
Of course.
So I mean, in Russia it would be, you know, you feel bad, well, then just don't.
Oh yeah, they're kind of old, but you know.
Two flute, flat, like 3mm.
They said like it's not dangerous, it just might not be effective. Yeah, it might not have any vinegar.
Yeah. So like that. What's your name?
Pedro.
Pedro. No. Okay. We select this. Okay. So yeah, and this is a contour. Now we're cutting it out, kind of. But before the contour, I think we need to do something that is more like adaptive or pocket clearing, more like pocket clearing. And for the tool, yeah, we're gonna select the mill again. So then for the geometry, let's select the model.
So I'm ready with everything for the table, so I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
The only thing left is like drilling it in and testing if it works.
Very nice.
And I'm thinking I should buy, like, it's on the way on the Metro Plus also, just buy some brackets for the legs.
Yeah.
Just easier to keep them like that instead of drilling from
the
top, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright.
Sounds good.
Yep.
See you tomorrow. Setup model, heights, and passes. Maybe we can do something here. Stock to leave. I won't leave anything. This is really soft. I think we can just do it in one go. Or maybe if we do stock to leave, then we are going to do one finishing pass. So it's 0.5mm on all sides. Let's just see how this goes. It's calculating. Yeah, so this is how it's gonna go. So this is the first thing that we want to do, pocket clearing. And let's simulate that.
But is it taking away all this extra wood?
Yeah.
But why? But that's going to take a lot of time.
Okay, so you first want to. Maybe then it makes sense to do it in the cutting first, and then
and then we just
And then the
cut
pocketing.
the other lines because we don't really need, and if we need to, for example, screw to the table, we also are going to need that areas. Like
Yeah.
You're clearing up the whole thing?
Yeah, it's the thing that maybe if we edit the setup and the model, yeah, it's this one. Maybe in the pocket you can specify.
what he did before, it was, I don't know, take one contour line and just
Yeah, so this one.
yeah, that one. Yeah, but
Then I think the idea was that you would do like pockets and a very small.
Yeah, maybe we can do that.
Figure out the whole bit.
Yeah, a little bit I did.
It's so weird to me.
So yeah, 2D pockets, so we can do those. Just need to select them. So this is gonna, oh okay, so here. Select the pockets. Yeah, so like so. The tool, that's the same still, hides, passes. Tolerance. Maximum step over. Find stock to leave. Yes, let's leave some stock. Multiple depths.
So why leave some stock? For a finishing pass or just?
Yeah, but maybe we don't need to leave some stock. So let's just make it faster. Maybe if you will need the finishing pass, then you can.
no, totally not. Like the fastest thing because it's just a test, and it's.
And yeah, for the step down, it should be not more than half of the diameter of the tool. So I will go with 1.4 and 1.4 over here as well. And I'm going to hit OK. Yeah.
Okay.
And now actually we could flip the order, so that first we do the pocketing and then we do the contours. And the contours actually we
I'm
could
going to break because I'm a little bit worried that we do the pocket first and then the contour.
It's gonna
It's going to break the other edge is fine, but these thin ones maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then if you simulate this, then it's gonna look like this.
Okay.
Yeah, then I'll leave you to it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want a vinyl cut or what?
Yeah, I'm asking for how to.
Yeah, I want to show them just now. So now we could continue with the vinyl cutting. I will show you how to set up the vinyl cutter.
That would be
So
great.
you're right in time. So here, maybe you can move the bag somewhere else. Whose bag is this?
Whose bag is it?
Okay, I'll just put it here. Yeah, so here, this black box is where we keep the scrap material. So this material is for free. So there are all kinds of, cut-offs, like for experimentation. So let's, so for our monkey, let's use something expressive. So how about, this is not really scrap material. This is a real material. Like so. So for the monkey, we can use this black sheet here. It looks like, all right, yeah. And first things first, switch on the vinyl cutter over here. It's gonna move the cutting shed. And here, this black thing here, it's actually the cutter. So there's a little knife inside. So if you open it up and you take it out, you see that you see like this little blade over here. So you can adjust its height also by turning the mechanism. So if it gets a bit not sharp, then you can adjust it. And then you close this. And then there's this handle over here, which is if it's in this position, then it's locked, so it's pressing down the material. And if it's in this position, then it's open. Then there are these little wheels here, and the other one is here. There are two of those, and you can move them by from the other side, so they're sliders. And when you load the material, you should watch. So you use these wheels in order to kind of clamp down the material. So and these wheels, they should be always on the white marked areas over here. The white marked areas, they are notifying where the teeth part on this rotating rod is. The rod is actually rotating, and it's responsible for pulling the material in and out. So it's responsible for the y-axis movement. So the material is being pulled in and out, thus controlling the y-axis, and this moves along the x-axis and controlling the x-axis. And this is how it can create these shapes. In order to load, you just put this in between the rod and these rubber wheels, like so. And what you do, you clamp it down like this, so it doesn't move. It even complains a little bit. And then here there are three options what you can use in order to load the material. So roll is when you would have a roll on the other side, and you would just set it up and it would just start cutting from the corner. Piece, this is more this scenario, and there's also edge, which is rather that you load it also from the other side and it's just an edge. We are going to select piece and enter. It's going to measure how wide is it, and then also how high is it. And it's using this sensor to kind of understand where it actually ends. Now it's set up. What we can do, we can actually cut the file. So for these computers, password is coffee time. Because it is. And just open Illustrator. And then USB A connectors, they are the worst. And just go to File, Open here, and USB disk, DFS. So we have the Illustrator file. All right. So this is our design. So we are going to delete everything that is not relevant to the vinyl cutting here. So I'm going to delete this laser cutting example and also this one. And for vinyl cutting is also important that you set the size of the canvas so it matches your design as precisely as possible. So this you can do with this artboard tool, this one. And basically what you can do, you can select all the design, and then you can go to Object, Artboards, Fit to Selected Art, and it's just going to adjust automatically. And here we are using Roland Cut Studio. So this plugin, if you don't know if it's closed like this, then you can go to Window, Extensions, Roland Cut Studio. Yeah. And yeah, it's going to show you how it's going to be cut. And here you can select the model of the machine, and it's always like GX24 here. And then you hit Output Paths, and it's gonna wait for the driver to communicate with it, and now we can hit cut. And it's sending data to the vinyl cutter and cutting. Might be that it's cutting a little bit too deep, but we are gonna find it out. Okay. Now if we hit menu, and there's one option unsetup. You have to hit that in order to unsetup. And now we can just remove it. Take a look. So it's, yeah, it was scratching the material a little too much, but that's fine. So what we can do now is cut a slice off. So this is still usable, and then we are going to cut this off also. Then this is still usable, and I'm just gonna, remove as much material from all around as possible with the scissors. And what we have to do now is use these dentist tools in order to remove. My favorite tool is always gone. So there's this. Yeah. The idea is that you remove everything that you don't need, that your design shouldn't have. So you can remove the negative sticker. Oh. So here we go. So okay, the F didn't lose it. No, not yet. So the trick here is to be slow and careful. So we have the monkey. The smart monkey. And yeah, there's one more detail over here. There are some fields over here. Like, looks even smarter when it's a vinyl cut. Okay. I think I did remove the bubbles. Yeah, these are there. But all right. And then what I can use is transfer tape. So you should choose a transfer tape that is as big as the material. So this looks all right. Just cut a piece. So you apply it like this. Then we have this nice plastic tool, so it sticks better. And then you can also cut around, so to make it more like a sticker. And now, who wants a new laptop sticker? Or anybody? But the trick here is that you would like flip it around. That's kind of important because then it's easier to remove the things that we don't need. So now it's kind of removing from the other side, like so. And now seriously, who wants a laptop sticker? If not, then I'll take the plastic tool. Let's just enhance. Let's put it here. And ta-da! And now it's your turn. So you were preparing the designs. So now you should try to do something with a vinyl cutter.
Can I quickly ask, what is the material that you put in irons of fabric?
Yeah, so this is this other vinyl. It's the yeah. You're looking for wait a minute. Something like this,
Yeah,
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the I don't know what's the real name for it, but this is it. And you cut it from this side here.
Ah, okay, from the
And then you remove the
side.
foil. Yeah, you see, it's kind of interesting. It kind of looks glossy from this side, but actually it is that you remove it and
Okay.
yeah, and then I think this is the temperature sensitive side. Although I'm not sure, maybe this is, so I need to look at a tutorial because I haven't done it myself. I just know that it's possible. So you cut it and you.
And do you have like other colors than yellow?
Yeah.
I'm looking for white.
White. This is also sticker white. No. Also sticker. Somehow no. I think we will need to order a batch of those. I think during the summer, like late spring and early summer, and during the summer, I think it would make sense to make a T-shirt workshop here.
Yeah.
This looks like could it be? No. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually it. Like it's a tiny piece of it. Somehow. Yeah, so for experiments. So I would be interested to see whether it works or not. Also, yeah, you can have this. So just try and come back to me just so we know that it works. Like the T-shirt workshop would be really nice to have. Take out.
Yeah, so I have to make book a time from there. To come and use the vinyl.
Yeah, or during the open days, just come and if you're here, you know, knocking at the door at 11, then we let you be the first.
When is it going to be an open day?
Thursdays usually.
Thursdays. So next Thursday I can come and because I would need these like texts. So if I would come and I don't know how to use Illustrator, but I know how to use Photoshop.
For this you need Illustrator because it's all vectors.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I have the font and the text.
Yeah, then we can. It's not so hard. Then you just figure out the layout and. I mean, Illustrator still it's not so hard to figure out a layout with the tools that are there. They're very similar to the ones of Photoshop. It's just all vectors.
Okay. So if I come Thursday. o'clock.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Can I, like, reserve this piece?
You can.
Yes.
So I think I would propose you to leave it in the storage, since that's the space for it. But where are all the sticky notes? Yeah, and they're always getting lost. Over here. Wait, I'm gonna hunt them down. Have you seen sticky notes around somewhere?
Sticky notes? Like post notes?
Yeah, post-its.
I have no idea. They were somewhere, but
Yeah, let's see. Um, um, how can it be? It was just here a minute. Oh, they're the small ones. Yes, so maybe note it down.
And where do I put this?
Come with me.
Maybe it's wise that I do first a test piece on Thursday,
Yes,
and then
I think it sounds like it makes complete sense. Yes. So there are like people building speakers. Hey. As you know, I'm not around. You can just show them where it is.
okay, so I will come back on Thursday.
Yeah. See you. See you then. All right. Everybody is doing their own animal. Now we have a monkey. Here are the notes. Post-its. Yeah. All right. Oh, of course, of course. So now I need to remember. I think it's more like a disc than a CD. Like just a disc, not a compact disc. Who's using those anyway? Yeah. Yeah, like I want a laser cut. Can you read files from a magnetic tape over here?
Eli varmaan katson kasvupaikkaa sitä yhteistyötä kasvupaikkaan kanssa ei ole vaarallista. Eka pitää laittaa lukumäärä, sitten vasta.
Did it work out?
Joo.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So one way how to avoid these burn marks would be to glue over like a paper tape, and then cut, and then after cutting you would remove the paper tape, and it would be clean. There would be no, like of course not on the sides. So these you could clear with some isopropanol.
Top.
But the ones on the top, yes. If you want a cleaner finish, then
Yeah.
it's that.
It's thanks for the advice, but it's just fine for us. No. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. So 2 6mm plywood sheets, right? Okay. Great, profit. Yeah.
How's the situation tomorrow here? I heard you have like maintaining day.
We have a course. In the morning we are, there are meetings, and then maintenance day is a maintenance day. So something should be maintained. So we are avoiding like any kinds of extra responsibilities. So better not planning anything for tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow is like
closed.
Okay. And how about Thursday? Do you have a lecture?
It's an open day basically, but we have a lecture as well. So we're gonna handle the lecture on this side. But then everything else is available.
If we come like do this stuff because it's not very noisy. So
yeah. So it's okay. So if you just don't scream at each other, then it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You blew it the wrong way.
Yeah. I was thinking to finish my speakers before the Saturday because I think quite a lot of people will be coming then. So it will be a lot of traffic.
Yeah, on Thursday, meaning, So, as soon as it's happening around this area and it doesn't interfere with the course too much, so it's fine.
Okay. Nice. But I might have some stuff to do then, so I'm not sure if I will come back.
Okay. Well, you meaning on Saturday?
What?
Meaning on Saturday or
Thursday?
Thursday.
Saturday I will be here.
Okay.
Even if my speakers are finished.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's looking really good. The ones that I have seen so far. Really nice, like with this finishing.
Yep. But like finishing is actually taking quite a bit of time
Mm.
because you need to wait and sand the edges out and stuff. So like now I made 4 sides in like 2.5 hours, and there's 10 in total that we need to do. So
Okay.
it's quite some work. But I hope people will be able to finish their vehicles on Saturday. So.
Okay.
But we told them that if they don't, then they must do that at home. So
Okay.
we'll take our stuff away anyway. Then.
Okay. So are you ready? So maybe I'll use the opportunity while the laser cutter is free actually.
Okay.
Ah, but no, it's gonna be free still. It's fine. No, maybe still because like there's 1 hour to go until 4. There might be a booking. So let's go and I'll quickly show you how the laser cutter does it. So with the laser cutter, it's a bit more complicated because you have to take care of the safety things. So you have to check here that this ventilation knob is on, like fully, and then you also have to make sure that this is on. So this position is closed. This is closed now. You have to open it up. So if it's vertical, so the sign should be a bit more precise. But then, so I'm gonna start from scratch. So this is you arrive here. The laser cutter is switched off. So what do? There's this button. So you press it. It goes on. You have to wait a little bit till it boots up because it's more like a computer inside. So yeah, and then the next thing is to set up the material. So let's say we are going to use this 0.8 millimeter APAT. So it's plastic. This you can buy also from our stock. And just put it. So if it's kind of bending a little bit, then you can use also these as flaps. No, but in this case we won't need that. You close it down like this. You can activate the red laser, like more like the visible laser pointer, which is gonna show you where it's gonna cut first. So now it's gonna cut into the frame, so which is bad. We want to actually set the origin point, which is going. We need to set it to the top leftmost corner. I think you have done some laser cutting before, right, in the architecture department. Then in order to move the origin point, we need to hit this X, Y, up button and confirm with the green button. So it's all written here as well. And then once that is activated, then you can move this around. So don't pull this like in the direction of Y-axis. This is why you have this. Yeah, this individually along X-axis. All right, you can do that. So I usually tend to leave 1 centimeter space in between those, so starting somewhere there. And then you hit set home, and you hit reset in order to confirm. So if it's not going to move, that means that the home position is all right. Sometimes if you are trying to set it too far up, then it's not understanding what you are trying to tell the machine, and it's moving around, and then you have to make sure that you reset the origin. You can leave the laser pointer on or not, that's your decision. But yeah, the next thing is, where did I put my, oh yeah, flash drive. So this has 4 USB ports. At the end of the week they're all full, usually. And we start with the same operation that we did with the vinyl cutter. We just go to the disk, we open the file. Looks familiar, right? So the same monkey, everything. So this time I'm going to delete the vinyl cutting version of it, and just gonna move these elements over here. And as you remember, so this guy has a black line, so it's black outline. Here at the stroke, you should check that it's 0.01 millimeters. The same goes with this monkey line. It's 0.0 millimeters, but it's red, so it's also this pure red, like with full red value. And then these are fully black, and the same goes for this. So everything that is black here is going to be engraved. Everything that has a black outline, it's going to be cut. Everything that is going to be red, it's going to be more like traced. Also cut with a different settings. So how do we do that now? So let's check how big is the file. So it's 17 centimeters high. We need to find a ruler in order to see. No, like a bigger one, like a bit different one. I think something like this might work. Yeah, it's only 15, but it's gonna work. Just check that your design is actually fitting. So it's gonna fit. So it's gonna be around this area somewhere here. But now when I think, then this material maybe is not that good for engraving. It's good for cutting, but not necessarily engraving. But that's all right. Because, so if we are doing just cutting and there are other elements that are not meant to be cut, it's just gonna cut. I will show you this scenario. So this works like a printer. So you go Control P or File Print, and you choose the FabLab 1000 profile, and you see it's gonna show you which area is going to be taken into account. So this all size is the size of the bed of the laser, and then you have to go to Setup, then hit Preferences, and this is the laser driver, so to say. And there are three ways how you can cut. It's raster, that means that you are going to engrave only. Vector, that means that you are going to cut only. And combine, it's gonna mean that it's gonna take the engraving parts and the cutting parts and combine those in one job. What do we need? We need just a vector for cutting, and you just need to adjust the speed, power, and frequency for the specific material that we are going to cut. And for this, we have a text file over here. And you just need to know what material you're cutting, and in this case it's this APAT, yeah, 80 millimeters, and the settings are 70, 100, 5000. So 70 for the speed. I'll actually go with 65, a little bit less. Power was 100. Just let me. Yeah, 100, and then frequency. For wood, it's usually 500, but then for plastics, it's usually 5000, which is the maximum here. Auto focus, it means that it's going to automatically focus the laser beam. So with laser, it's not just it's not straight. It still has a lens inside, so it has like this conical structure. So you have to focus the laser on top of the surface actually in order for it to cut. And you always need to expect that it's, in terms of microns, it's going to be a bit conical. And it's going to set the focus automatically. For example, if you have a wavy surface, then you can set it manually. But that's a different story, so I can show you that later. But the simplest is to hit OK, then hit Print, and hit Print one more time. Now the job is there. It should appear here. You see job 1, it also has the file name, and then you just have to hit the green button and it's gonna start its job. And in this case, it's not gonna touch the parts which are not for cutting, because we chose the vector, and we also didn't specify separate settings for the red line. So it's just gonna do something with the black line. No, it's actually doing something. It's cutting out the monkey still. Okay, so it just took all the lines, so it actually didn't care about the color of the lines somehow. Yeah, reset, so it moves back to the position. Don't breathe these, not good.
That's I guess the edge of the table. This is where we are now.
Yeah, so, and its material is, you know, it's kind of weird. It leaves these burn marks and it doesn't look that nice. You have to post-process it in order to make it look good. Yeah, and I could actually go with a little bit less power, with more power. Right, yeah, you have it. So, this is cut out, so. Yeah, but how about we do it with another material where we can see the engraving better? Some sort of plywood. This looks like a really good piece of plywood, so let's use that. So, and if you want to make something, then I think this is gonna be enough for all of us to try it out. So for this, it's nice to clamp it down. Usually, so if it's bending like this, I think it's always better to put it like that. So, and in this case, you really need to refocus so that the origin is somewhere there. You know, hit X off. Yes. Move it down somewhere here. Again, 1 centimeter from all of the edges. And then set home. And I'll just confirm by hitting reset. If it doesn't move, then it's fine. Let's close it down. And yeah, we'll quickly check what is the thickness of the material by using caliper. So that's a good thing to make sure of always before you start cutting. But of course, as always, caliper is somewhere else. Just a second. No. Now we need the other one. This one. 2 millimeter plywood. Yeah. Yeah, and in this case, I think I'm gonna also make some sort of outline to all of this. So this is gonna be easier to see. So with an outline, so you're just gonna cut it out like little boards. And this version of Illustrator, it doesn't have like this rounded corners feature, but it's okay. And then it's always also nice not to have any double lines. So for example, if you use, so with this we are going to be able to not repeat the lines. So now it's this one is going to cut this square, and then it's going to continue from this corner and then cut it like so. You would add 2 squares, then it would double this line, and this is not what we want. And yeah, so let's set up a bit more complicated job. So now, so these lines, they are already 0.01, so which is fine. Maybe we'll change the color to black. So we know that the black color is going to be for cutting.
Black is for cutting and red is for trace.
Yeah, so in this we are going to set up. So I'm just going to, so all the design is, how big is it? Height is 20, so that should be it. Yeah, I think there is 20 centimeters. So yeah, so we are going to set this up. So I'm hitting Control P and TabLab 1000. This setup preferences. First, So I'm gonna do it combined, so I hope it's not gonna fail. I usually recommend to do it separately, but for this case, we can do a combined one. Let's check the settings for plywood, which is 2mm settings. It's 38, 60, 500. I'm gonna go with 35 actually, so I'm also changing. No, I'm not gonna change it here yet. 35, 60, and 500. So the lower it goes, the more it spends time on a certain location, the more it goes through. 60 is the power, and 500. So for wood, you usually use 500 frequency. Yeah. And then we need settings for engraving. So for engraving, I also recommended settings over here, which is 90 and then 50, 90 for the speed, and 50 for the power. And then we need color mapping for the tracing. So we need to select the red color. We need to enable the color mapping first. So, and then the red color, yeah, you see, it has every color that you specify can have its own settings. And we are going to define the same that we have for the engraving in a way. So we are going with a really high speed. Let's see, it was 90 and 50. So yeah, we go with 90 for the speed and 50 with the power. And frequency is going to be 500. I think I can enter it here. No, I cannot. And then it's going to be just
cozy here.
yeah. And then you transfer it to the settings that it has here. You check that, and it changes here. Speed, frequency, and it's going to be used only for vector. Okay, and then you hit print, and hit print again, and send there. And yeah, let's just do it.
Okay, you know what? Just in case, I'm gonna drive up the machine. I'm just gonna lift it up and say this is the Y zero. No, Z zero.
This is now the engraving.
Here, and then we'll run it. Yeah, this is it. Stop that. No. Yeah, this is something like if I put it zero. Sometimes I just close and close.
So what it is doing?
Yeah, you see, now it's the engraving the monkey.
Yeah. So we'll just run it where the Z was there. So it should just do it there for a little while.
So I set up this just to show you what are all the possibilities of the laser that you can do. So it can engrave, cut, and mark.
I don't know if we really need to drive all the way because I think I'm pretty sure along the rest. Go to 0. You got to be careful with the go to 0. You need to make sure you calibrate it on top of the material and not under the material. Because if you forget, it'll just But we need to do the V again.
Yeah, we're gonna do this part on Thursday. This is marking now, so you see it goes really fast. It kind of cuts, but not doesn't cut all the way through. So this is a really fast way. So if you need to do some lettering on a larger scale and you don't want to spend all day at a laser, then marking is the way to go. And now it's cutting. You see it's a bit slower.
That looks like it's worked, and then go. Yeah.
So as you're told, it's now cutting the square, and then it's going to start from one of the corners and cut the rest. Okay, now let's wait a little bit till the fumes go off. So you just hit reset for it to go back to the corner. Yeah. And,
If you brought a challenge, you do realize that, right? Like no room for error.
okay, and now it's your turn. So you can choose whether you want to use the vinyl.
Also black, black color, white, not like this one to cut, but just like to this one is black and this one is black.
Yeah, this just burnt away the material. And if you look like from a side, you'll see that it's kind of it's a bit, it's carved out. So it just burnt out the material a little bit. And of course, like, here it's black because the laser actually was spending more time on the spot. So it was obviously if you like apply fire to wood a little bit, it's gonna become brownish like this, and if you keep burning it, then it's gonna become black eventually. So that's the idea. And now, yeah, so I saw that you were creating really nice designs. So just for the rest of the day, just try out your thing on the laser cutter, and yeah, take your time. Laser cutter is yours. Vinyl cutter is yours. And ask questions.
Just try and keep an eye on the bit, because.
And for the live stream that I am constantly doing now, so I will stop it. So it's all recorded. So my voice is recorded. So if you forget something, then you can go back to YouTube where it's all stored. But I'm also going to make an announcement on my courses. So yeah, thanks for watching Digital Fabrication Studio. See you tomorrow, where we are going to cover. What is the plan for tomorrow? Yeah, we are going to do basics of Fusion 360. We are going to create a basic 3D model that we are going to then slice and 3D print with one of our printers.